Well, same-sex marriage, the Supreme Court is still considering whether to review one of at least 5 key cases. Many thought word would come Friday. That's when the justices met behind closed doors. But in the end, well, we heard nothing. Richard Socarides is Bill Clinton's former advisor on gay civil rights issues. He's also a civil rights attorney and Democratic strategist. Now, Richard, what is fascinating to me is it's your former boss, Bill Clinton, who signed the Defense of Marriage Act, or DOMA, essentially defining marriages between a man and a woman only. It's now in the Supreme Court. Does he regret his decision?
Well, he said he's said before that he regrets it, and now he's a strong proponent for marriage equality, yes.
And so the court, I think everybody had a lot of expectations that the court would at least pick one of the cases, because this really boils down to equal protection and what it means. Why do you think the court did not come out with a decision on which case to review?
Well, I think that they probably decided that these are complicated issues. In fact, they're quite complicated and quite historic, and they probably need a little bit more time. But we expect, I think the big news for next week is we expect either tomorrow, Monday morning, but at some point next week, maybe as late as Friday afternoon, but at some point next week, we're going to start to hear from the Supreme Court which cases they will consider. We feel pretty strongly, those of us who follow this closely, that they will accept for consideration a case involving the constitutionality of the Defense of Marriage Act. And the big news that may come out of the court next week is on the Proposition 8 case out of California, because if they decide not to hear the Proposition 8 case, then same-sex marriage will once again be legal in California.
So what's so fascinating, I think something that many people don't understand is that, you know, they may be folks who do marry in states where it's legal, may be entitled to rights in that state, but they're not entitled to federal protection, which is one of the big issues, and that's one of the reasons that it's being considered, no?
That's exactly right, and that is a very important and the key point here relating to the Federal Defense of Marriage Act. That is the law which says that even if you're married to your same-sex partner in a state which recognizes such marriages, a state like New York, where I am this afternoon, that the federal government will not recognize you for federal purposes, so that you cannot file a joint income tax return, you can't get survivor benefits, you can't get Social Security benefits, you get none of the other benefits that heterosexual couples would get, even though you may live in a state where your same-sex marriage is recognized. And that's why most constitutional scholars believe that when the court issues a decision next June, it will declare the Federal Defense of Marriage Act unconstitutional.
Which would be rather fascinating. All right, Richard Socarides, thank you so much. Really appreciate your insights today on this.
Thank you.
Well, John